Thank you.
Stand by.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll call back. Here we go, bye.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Thank you for coming. Is this a good morning? I'm attorney Gloria Allred. I'll have a brief statement, and then I'm happy to answer any questions, and we'll provide you copies of my statement in a few minutes. Today, Bill Cosby was charged in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania with aggravated indecent assault, a felony. For many of my 29 clients who allege that they are victims of Bill Cosby, seeing him criminally charged and having to face a trial is the best Christmas present that they have ever received. The allegations in the Pennsylvania criminal case against Mr. Cosby relate to conduct that Mr. Cosby is alleged to have inflicted on Andrea Constant in 2004 and is within the statute of limitations, SOL, for prosecution in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, for most of the women who allege that they are victims of Mr. Cosby, it is too late for their allegations to be the subject of a criminal prosecution or a civil case because of the arbitrary and restrictive time limits set by law. We are working in many states to eliminate the statute of limitations or to lengthen the time limit for criminal prosecution of rape and sexual assault. While I do represent 29 alleged victims of Mr. Cosby, I represent only one in a civil lawsuit. My client, Judy Huff, alleges in her lawsuit that she was 15 years old when Mr. Cosby victimized her at the Playboy Mansion. We took Mr. Cosby's deposition in Ms. Huff's case in October 2015 in Boston. The court has ordered a protective order on that deposition. For that reason, we are unable to comment on what Mr. Cosby said in his deposition in this case. I can say, however, that earlier this month, we filed a motion to compel a second deposition of Mr. Cosby. Our motion was based in part on his refusal to answer certain questions in the October deposition. That motion is filed under seal and is scheduled to be heard on February 2nd, 2016 in Department N of the Los Angeles County Superior Court. We are also scheduled to return to that court on February 26, 2016 for a status conference, and the issue of the protective order may be discussed at that time. Further, our client's deposition will be taken by Mr. Cosby's lawyers on January 29, 2016. And we have scheduled and noticed a deposition of another person in the case for February. It is very significant that the Montgomery County District Attorney felt that the case against Mr. Cosby was strong enough that it could meet the standard of proof in a criminal case. That standard of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a much higher standard of proof that is required in a civil case. In our civil case, on behalf of Ms. Huff, our burden of proof is much lower. To prevail, we need only prove our case by a preponderance of evidence, or by clear and convincing evidence if we are seeking punitive damages. Both standards of proof are less than are required in a criminal case. I'm very proud of the courage of my client Judy Huff and all of my clients who have chosen to speak out in the court of public opinion and who are seeking to eliminate the statute of limitations or lengthen it in their states. A bill to eliminate it in California will be introduced in January, and I am supporting that bill and working with the Senator Leyva, who will be introducing it. So many women who allege that they are victims of Bill Cosby have cried out for justice for so long. In Pennsylvania, there is now a journey to justice in the felony case filed against Mr. Cosby. I'm very happy that this day has finally come. Mr. Cosby deserves a fair trial, but so does Andrea Constant and the people of the state of Pennsylvania. Mr. Cosby was born in Philadelphia, and I was born there as well. He attended Central High School, an all-boys, all-academic public high school. I attended Girls High, the all-girls, all-academic public high school, a few blocks away. He went to Temple University in Philadelphia. I am a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. He came to Los Angeles in the 60s. I also moved to Los Angeles in the 60s. Our paths never crossed until his deposition in October in Boston. But I will now be carefully monitoring the progress of his criminal case. If the prosecutor decides that it is relevant and admissible to call any of my clients as witnesses in the criminal case, I know that many of my clients will be willing to testify, and we look forward to a just result. And before I take questions, so this is a copy of the arrest warrant, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William Henry Cosby. And this is from the criminal docket in that case.
Just one towards the front.
Okay, so I'm happy to.
Gloria, I know
Answer.
you can't go into details, but is there anything that was said or gleaned out of that deposition in October that may have tipped the scale for the DA in Philadelphia?
The district attorney and also law enforcement in Philadelphia do not have a copy of our October deposition because it is the subject of a protective order. So I have not been able to provide it to them, and they have not obtained it. Had they obtained it, I would know about it, and the court would have had to order it, and I would have had notice of that.
How come only one of your 29 clients have filed civil cases against Mr. Cosby?
As I've indicated, for most of my clients, the statute of limitations has barred them, prevented them from proceeding with a civil lawsuit. In other words, it's too late. They could file it, but then Mr. Cosby, as an affirmative defense, could assert the statute of limitations, the case would be dismissed. So there's no point in filing that which would be dismissed, and there would be no trial.
And even in civil case?
That's a civil, there is a statute of limitations in civil cases, and there's a statute of limitations in criminal cases. We have 50 states in the United States. There are a variety of statute of limitations. There are often differing statute of limitations in one state for criminal prosecution and even for a civil lawsuit. Different statute of limitations for a civil lawsuit by an adult survivor of child sexual abuse, which is what is alleged in our Judy Huff case, or for an adult survivor of adult sexual abuse. It's different in every state.